Hello, welcome to Rock Motherhood. In our time together today, we are going to talk about consuming less this Christmas and a whole lot more. Curbing attitudes of consumerism, greed, and entitlement. Choose not to go into debt over fleeting happiness. Preventing clutter and mess. And teach the joy of giving, service, and sacrifice this season. And it is something that we are going to get in just a sec. We have a ton to talk about there. But hey, if we've never met, I am Janae, founder of Transition What Now, and where I help others thrive in their transitions. I am an author, an entrepreneur, a wife, and a mother of 5 in which we homeschool. So we derive a lot of our content from all of those experiences. All right. So recently I watched a blog post from julienaturally.com, and she had this blog post about a gift-free Christmas. Well, I was raised with Mrs. Claus, and it was something that Christmas was my absolute favorite day of the year. I don't know about how many of you celebrated Christmas, but it was definitely, for us, it was very centered around family, which was very important. I remember just going to all the family parties, and each of them had gifts for us kids. So lots and lots of presents, and my mother's love language is gift giving, and she is really good at it, and she's very generous. And so Christmas morning, after a family Christmas party from one side, Christmas morning would be gifts just spewing out from under the tree, and stockings that she knit that were just stuffed, and oh my gosh, the joy and delight of opening all these things. And then after that, we would go across the street to my aunt's house, where we would have a whole nother Christmas. Gifts everywhere. And that night it would be a family party with more presents, and I had all my gifts proudly displayed for everyone to come and see, and I would show off all my presents. And so that's how I grew up. The anticipation of Christmas was just like this magical day that I couldn't wait to open all these presents, and it was just this beautiful expression of presents. And I had a great childhood, and I grew up wanting that for my kids, right? Like I love traditions, and I wanted to create similar traditions that what I had that I loved. Now, there's a couple of problems with that. One is that consumerism has reached a very grotesque level. And it was not like that when we were kids, to this extent, I would argue. And it's sick, really. Also, it has caused a new generation, and the good thing, it's caused a new generation of simplicity and minimalism. So that's kind of where we're all coming from, is just to simplify, to minimalize, not spend as much, that kind of thing. And it's not because we didn't love our upbringing, but it's because it got out of hand. And with 5 kids, it's not only that it's a lot of money to have this kind of Christmas, but it's a lot of stuff. So if you have 2 or 3 kids, can you imagine what you have at Christmas time? And then where do I put, all that stuff around the house? Double that or triple it for the huge families, I mean, it's just too much stuff. And the problem is I've kind of already introduced my children to the showering of gifts, and that's their favorite part of Christmas. So it's kind of about what they get. And yes, they're good at giving, but it really has been what they love about getting and consumerism. And you have heard the stats of how people put things on layaway or go into debt, how much debt they go into over the holidays. And it's really sad. And this is not what Christmas is supposed to be about. And we've kind of, I guess, fallen to the society of consumerism that is all around us, and we've kind of fallen victim to that. So we have to be aware and not fall into that trap of consumerism. And so I have many, many ways to help you this season. And it's not just all about gift giving, but let's just look at how we can celebrate this season and actually kind of slow down instead of making it be such a rush. Okay, So a lot of these next few things I'm going to share with you. Last week we talked about a little bit about the book called The 5 Languages of Love and Ways to Be a Better Wife. And so some of these things I'm going to share with you are based off the 5 love languages. So the first one is to make gifts. Gift giving, fine. If you yourself make the gifts, and I shared with you a couple weeks ago with our family board, right? We did our family night board. That is one way that was the most special gift, and I made that. And that is a big gift that you can give a family yourself. So it's definitely, if you're not that creative, you can have somebody, like I have a friend who does like really cool paintings on woodworking, like woodwork paintings or woodwork boards, or you can have a friend of yours do something that they make. But for the most part, this can be something the kids do. So if the kids have a gift in being anything they're good at, like it could be woodworking, it could be making food, making candles, soaps, fabrics, like I said, wood projects. Anything you can see like that they can make your family or their siblings. So this can be for kids and for you to make your kids something, use your creative talents, or learn something new. Check out Etsy, check out Pinterest. There's some really cool things that you can be creative with this Christmas and slow down. And it's really fun to actually make something, and there's a lot of pride in it. I know I've gotten into crocheting a little bit, and I've crocheted kids stuff, and I crocheted my number 3 a blanket, and we call it the hammock blankie because it literally is shaped like a hammock. I mean, I don't know what I did, like crocheters would probably know, or maybe this was when I was knitting. No, it was crocheting, and it was maybe knit too tight on the ends and then got looser in the middle, and it forms like a hammock, and he calls it his hammock blankie. He loves it. So doesn't have to be perfect, just something that you enjoy and you're proud of. All right, so that's little less money to do handmade gifts sometimes, and it just slows down Christmas a bit. Okay, the next is you can offer gifts of service. So kids or adults can create coupon books, and I just kind of got something online that I purchased that you have coupon books that you can kind of print out. You can make coupons for your kids, or they can fill them out for you. You can do things for like a free car wash, maybe one prepared dinner, a spotlessly cleaned room, please, things like that. And all sorts of things you can do with the coupon books or gifts of service. The next is to share an experience together. Again, I think Christmas has become so much about what we get and buy and have as materialism, material goods. And this is a great way to have memories together. That's an experience. So you could go to a play, you could go to a movie, you could do a daycation or a staycation or a vacation or any of the vacations. You could go to like a local family fun center, bumper cars or K1 tracks, whatever you have in your area. Bowling. So just something you can do as a family tradition to do together. Okay. I know that one year, gosh, this was 4, 5, 6 years ago. I don't remember. 5 years ago, maybe. Our family did zero materialism for the year. I think it was 2014. That kind of rings a bell. But anyway, we did zero materialism. So we tried to buy nothing. That doesn't mean I was like, Mom, I need this. And she would sometimes buy me something. But otherwise, literally our family didn't spend any money on material stuff. That year, people would just gave us, our neighbors would just dump stuff on our porch. Some of them didn't even know we were doing that. And it just kind of happened. So we had actually so much stuff. But we didn't buy anything. We did more experiential gifts. So even for their birthdays, Christmas, I sometimes ask for experiential gifts. Okay? All right, the next one is to create a memory photo book or calendar. This is a nice gift idea. Just having, I know a family that does a photo book every year as a gift for the Christmas for, I think, themselves and their in-laws. And I think that's such an amazing gift. And especially as your parents get older, like they have enough stuff too usually. There might be some things they need, but sometimes they really love these personal gifts like photo book of a combination of your year with them as a grandparent, or You can make a photo book for your family if all the memories you had for that year. And I just made one that I know Shutterfly had some deal, and so they made one for me. So I just gave them the pictures. It has all the dates and the arrangement, and they put it together for me. So if you don't have a ton of time, that's another option. And that's a great gift. Even to have one like every single year, something like that. The calendars are wonderful to have as well. Okay, writing a personalized letter to each other. This also is an especially meaningful gift for a grandparent and maybe a spouse. So again, if their gift is words of affirmation, and if they have a lot of stuff, this is a very nice way that you can touch them with your words and how much they mean to you, or what you've enjoyed doing with them, and things like that. Another one is creating a personal framed name acronym, so like a poem. So if their name is Joe, Joy, something that starts with each letter of their name. And this is something you can create that they can kind of hang in their room, that they might keep forever. And or just some frameable artwork for your child that you use based on their name or an acronym. Okay. So those are some ideas of gift alternatives. Ways this season you can kind of dive deeper into the real story of Christmas and not get so caught up in the consumerism bit is visit a live nativity. So some neighborhoods have these, some neighborhood churches do this, or your city, not everyone, but ours has. I mean, this is the most phenomenal thing I've almost ever seen. So I've never been to the Middle East. I've never been to Israel. I've never been anywhere over there. But I know the guy who created this locally here in Bend was over there, and that's what gave him the inspiration to create something like this here. And he tried to make it as real life as possible. And honestly, the first time I went through it, I felt like I was in Bethlehem. You're walking through, and it's a whole like skit. So they're pretending like you're from the family of David, and you have to go pay your taxes, and you go through this whole journey of Bethlehem, it's called. And I thought I was going to show up with like a still nativity with some like camels and donkeys and horses, or not horses, but camels and donkeys and sheep or whatever, and some wise men and a baby Jesus. But it wasn't that. It was you're walking through this whole nativity. And when you go through the marketplace, there's people, begging you for money and trying to get you to buy their pottery, or, pulling on you. You have to do this. And they're making real bread or real garbanzo bean dishes. Like, it's insane. It's just made so real. And they put you through this whole process and what it's like to be Mary and Joseph in that time. That's a really cool thing to do if your area has that. Another idea was to imitate the real Saint Nicholas. So obviously he was a real person who loved Jesus and kind of gave anonymous gifts to people, and especially the poor. So one thing that you can do is to help them understand the truth is to kind of be a secret Santa. Go around your town and like pay people's parking meters, or shovel a neighbor's driveway or sidewalk. Just do a kind deed anonymously. Like, what a great way, to share that from St. Nicholas. The other thing is to read through the real Christmas story. I know even there's been some discrepancies and some liberties taken from what's really in Scripture and what people have taken with nativity scenes even. I don't think there's, we're not really positive how many wise men there are, that kind of thing. So, just kind of read through that. Celebrating Advent. So this is something that is a way to slow down and just enjoy the season. As a homeschooler, this is something that was suggested, and we're going to do this year, is to kind of ramp up and get all your stuff done early. And we're going to take the month between Thanksgiving and Christmas and do Advent and not do quote unquote curriculum or our main studies. We might do some math, but really we're going to take the time to do Advent. So I'm going to pick 3 things. I've got a couple of different Advents I'm using, but I'm going to just choose 3 things that, or 3 Advent ideas that I'm going to use. And again, if you're watching this video, feel free to kind of rewind or back up through it. And if you can't write all this stuff down in time, just keep, backing up and writing it down. All right, so Advent is a time for preparing our hearts for Jesus. And so a couple things that I'm going to do, I think there's 25, 24, but I'm just going to share 3 good ideas with you. So I'm going to read one. It says, this is from howtohomeschool.com. Carrie Beck has, these are 3 from her ideas. I also have one that I had printed from Teach Sunday School or something. I don't remember what it was, but I'm not sharing those here. It's just something that I printed off and bought. All right, so one idea from howtohomeschool.com was to stir up Sunday is the Sunday after Thanksgiving. So here we are. I don't know when you're watching this, but if it's live, then, we are Wednesday before Thanksgiving, so you have a few days to prepare. So the Sunday after Thanksgiving, it provides a wonderful way to make the transition into the Advent season. On this day, the traditional Christmas pudding is made with the whole family in the kitchen, chopping, stirring, measuring, baking the Christmas plum pudding. I guess you could sing, you stir up your figgy pudding. And the pudding is put away for weeks and eaten at Christmas. Can you refrigerate pudding that long? Do you freeze it? That I don't know. Look that up. So that's one idea. And then to start decorating your home and preparing for Christmas. Bake some cookies for your children. Sundays are a great day to spend with your family. Okay. Idea number 2 of Advent is Advent calendars can take many forms. So that's kind of one way that a lot of families celebrate Advent is we kind of have the Advent calendars where you get chocolate each day. I remember that. Or my sister and I would have to alternate. So she'd get it one day, I'd get the next. Or you have a little thing at Advent that you count down the days until Christmas, right? Well, we had one growing up, and I have one now that has little pockets. So you take a little thing out of a pocket and you change it each day. So her idea was you can, or you could make your own. If you don't have one of those, you can grab one at a store or make your own kind of pocket calendar. And you can add items to the pocket. So each year you can fill the pockets with slips of paper, and you write a simple activity for each day. So such as go and see Christmas lights, go and make hot chocolate, sing by the fire. And so each day you have a little slip in there, they take it out and you do that activity that day. Okay, that's a really cool idea. Or something that you just want to remind them, or it can be a little saying for them. Okay, so the next thing is to spend some time with each of your children during the holiday. So this is number 3 of the Advent. Not only does this encourage your children to think about others, but it also helps them live a real life experience to manage their money within their means. So this is like taking them out and maybe buying gifts for their siblings, their parents, grandparents, and take them out individually. It can be done a couple ways. It can be done like this is a date. So we try to date our kids and take them out for a special date each, at least once or twice a year. And I used to have a limit of $5. Russell does not do that, my husband, but I'd be like, hey, we have $5 to spend together. What do you want to do? And they would go get a treat, or they'd get a toy, or they would get, an ice cream, a lunch, whatever. Okay, so this is a good time to do it is around Christmas. You can take them shopping, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. Or you can just take them for a date over Christmas. And it's something that they'll remember around Christmas time as something, a very fond memory, that they got to spend that individual time with you. You learn a lot about them doing that as well. Okay, so now those are the 3 Advent ideas, and now we're going to switch to some service ideas to do during this season. All right, so service ideas gives your children empathy, compassion, having kind of an others-focused mindset and perspective on such a time when it can be very me-focused season. Can't wait what I get, all that. And don't get me wrong, my kids still make little Christmas lists. They need socks and underwear, so they grow out of things. They need clothes. So this is my time where I can stock them up on that stuff. I give them gifts with food they love in their stocking. Like I go to Trader Joe's here locally, and I get some really good foods that they like and things like that help them, that they don't normally get. Okay, so service things you can do, always involving the whole family. You can make cookies for your neighbors, which a lot of people do. You can do a service project every year at Christmas. So people do those Operation Christmas Child with the shoe boxes, things like that. Angel tree. So a lot of places around town have things you can grab off the trees and give gifts to people, right? Like people who are needy. Feed my starving children, those packing events, things like that. So there's so many things you can do around this season for service, and that's where you can kind of create the focus instead of me, me, me. It's like, how can we give to others? Because there's a lot of people in need. We here in local Bend, Oregon, we had this crazy snow. Well, I shouldn't say crazy. I'm from Syracuse, New York. That was crazy snowstorms. But we had a snowstorm last night, and it was like 11 at night, and one of my kids couldn't sleep, and he came out, and I was like, come out here. And I showed him. It was bright as can be, 11:30 at night, and it was like pure bright, the snow on the ground, and it was super beautiful. And then we came in and thought about, because it was so cold, he didn't have a shirt on, and he came out and he's like, I can't stay out any longer, I'm so cold. And we thought about all the people out there with no homes, and we talked about that, and it's sad. It's really sad with people who don't have homes or don't have heat. So this can be a time where you kind of, do a sock, buy a bunch of socks and give them to homeless, things like that. Having cold feet is no good. So that's the type of thing you can do. Also, nursing homes. I don't know if any of you have grandparents or anyone in nursing homes or senior living that they can get lonely this time of year. So, go and distribute cookies or give ornaments or sing. I was reading this one blog post that said you can bring the gift of bananas to senior living homes, that they like that. I guess that may be something easy for them to chew. I don't know. Thought that was cute. So just visiting them sometimes brings a lot of joy to them. And the other thing is to donate money where you would normally spend on gifts. So one time our extended family did this, is we spent a lot of gifts on the cousins and things like that. And one year we kind of tallied and said, hey, let's spend this amount, and then the rest let's put towards, a charitable donation to a certain organization we all picked or agreed upon or something like that. And it was pretty cool. So you can do things like that. World Vision, Compassion International, Heifer International. So Justice Mission, I know a lot of them do things like that. There's gift catalogs where you can purchase cows and chickens and sheep. I think that's what we did. I think we purchased a livestock for a village or something one year. You can build a well or a school, provide counseling for a rescued slave. So those are some ideas as well. Okay? All right, next we're going to transition to ways to give gifts with family and extended family. So this is always interesting because, there's your opinion, there's other opinions, but here's some things you can kind of suggest. Okay, and again, this is for your immediate family and or extended family. You can introduce a grab bag Christmas. So if you have a large extended family and you're already buying for your own family, and then you've got like 13 cousins or even 5 cousins or whatever it is, and then their parents, and I don't know how you guys all do it, but you can put all the adults put their names in a hat, and kids put their names in a different hat, and all the adults can choose one name from each hat, right? So you can do things like that. You can do a Secret Santa. You can do no adult gifts, just the adults pick for the kids, and they each get a gift. Okay, that's one idea. The other is to decide as a family you will only buy one gift, and that's if, of course, you're on a set budget. And you set a budget for each person, right? So one kid doesn't get like a, Xbox, and another kid gets a $5 gift card. So you set your budget, what it will be. And you can, some people do this with their own family. Some do it for more of their extended family. And that's just, especially for extended family, this is just about enjoying time together with a beautiful family meal, and then everybody can get one gift. Okay. The other idea is to buy used. I am a huge fan. Before Marketplace or any of these new kind of marketplace type things, Craigslist. I used to furnish our home with Craigslist. Not the stuff like beds or bedding, but like dressers and toys, whatever it is, So this Christmas, I have a girl, and so there's these things called calico critters. If any of you have girls who know what these are, and they are crazy expensive. 4 little calico critters can be like $26, and I know that because I was in the store the other day looking. But I go to Marketplace, type in calico critters, and they get snatched up so quick. And I literally was on there for a friend, selling some items for a friend, and someone was posting calico critters as I was on there, and I got them before she even posted them all, and I was like, I'll take everything you got. I got over $300 worth of calico critters stuff for $100. Went in, picked it up, I brought it home, washed anything, because they're like plasticky things, washed it. The little animals I just wiped with a wipe. Done. She will never care. She will never, well, even if she knows, she'll never care. So that's a great idea too, is to go to Marketplace or the like, and buy used. Okay. Another alternative is to buy 3 gifts. I've heard this before. I thought this was kind of cool. So this is for your family. Also, one for the heart or the soul, one for the mind, and a gift for the body. So that would be something like, you could do something for the heart and soul, like a book. You could do an educational toy for the mind, and then some bath wash or bath salts or bath bombs for the body. And you can get all that for like $35 or something, right? So you could do that per kid, and every year that's what they get, is 3 things, one per area. All right. So for my family, this is what we do. As I shared already, we have started showering them with gifts. So it'd be pretty difficult. Like, we're not doing that. Well, that's okay. Whatever you choose to do for your family. But for us, we still do gifts. Again, I need to replenish on their clothes and their socks and their underwear, and I give them cool, neat things of food and treats. We did this whole thing every year where we'd celebrate. I think it was in Germany, the Sinterklaas or something. They would give fruit and nuts in the morning. So, when your kids are ripping through their Christmas morning stuff, my kids, I would start with a bowl. I could have them all laid out with a bowl of fruit and nuts. This is celebrating this Sinterklaas. And they'd at least eat something while they're ripping through their gifts, or, so that's something else you can do. But for my kids, so my kids are all 11 to 2. No, they're not working. They're not making their own money. Sure, they get money throughout the year. They can, they're out there shoveling and having fun in the snow right now. Maybe they can shovel a driveway for a neighbor and get money. But for the most part, this is what we've done, is I take all of my kids and I take them to the dollar store. Again, we call this the dollar junk toys. I know that these toys last a week, or some of them have lasted a year, but they're junk toys. They're not even healthy. They're kind of toxic. But the joy the kids get from doing this. And so for my kids, they buy the grandparents, they'll buy, because they come and visit at Christmas, and they'll buy everyone in their family. So that's 4, and then mom and dad is 6, so at least $8 of their own money. So that's about what it is. And we go to the dollar store, they get their own basket, and you can do this anywhere you want. Like if you have a store that you prefer much more than the dollar store, I totally get it. But they can still be inexpensive. So they go to the dollar store, they each get a little basket, and they're so excited to do this. And they break out, and I'm watching, I'm standing guard with the little ones, and they go and they pick out one thing for each sibling, one thing, and they have, they know how many gifts they have to get. I help the little ones. The bigger ones, they go and they get their stuff. And they try to cover it from their siblings seeing. But, if the siblings see a basket full of stuff, they don't know which one's theirs. I can't say that no one's ever kind of been like, oh, I bet you that's going to be mine, but whatever. So they pick one thing for everybody, and then they go out and they have their own money. This is their own money. I don't give them money for this. They go and they go to the register, and again, I'm there supervising, watching, and they pay themselves. They get their change, whatever it is. And they have it in bags now, and they even ask for double bags so they can't see through. And sometimes they even pick out their own roll of wrapping paper that, I'll buy that. And then they go home. So after everybody's gotten all their gifts and they bagged it up and they're elated. They get into the car and we go home, and they all disperse and they find their own kind of domain in the house, their own room, and they get their supplies, their scissors, their tape, their pens, and their wrapping paper, and they wrap them. And I have taught them, so I've sat down and taught the big ones how to wrap. I can't say it's totally pretty, but I've taught them how to fold over the corners, do this, fold it over, tape here. And some of them really get into the wrapping. Some of it's kind of sloppy, but then they practice their writing. They write whose gift it is. And they just love this. And can I tell you that Christmas morning, they're so excited. So this is promoting giving. They're so excited to give this gift that they chose for their sibling and give it to them and watch them open it and see the delight in their brother or sister's face when they open this, or not, but that's part of giving too. And it's just a really neat thing that we've done every year. And again, the toys don't last long, so for me, I'm like, sweet, because then I can just toss them. Is done and is going to do this family. Again, taking the focus off of consumerism too much and making it more about the real reason for the season, and also just kind of helping to slow down. So making it about others and giving, not necessarily about getting. Okay, so I think again, this curbs that attitude of selfishness and entitlement, and really promotes that gift of giving. So I hope that I call you early enough that your kids are young enough that you can start doing this before they're too old and remember what you used to do. But if not, like my kids, like it's just never too late to start new things, new traditions. And it might take a year or two to kind of adjust and get things, or you're going to probably tweak it every year anyway. But